Welcome to the Chronicles of Rome, Episode 17, The First Punic War, The Sea's Price. In 264, Rome stood poised on the edge of its world. The Pyrrhic War was won. Tarentum knelt, and its proud Hellenistic banners lay trampled in the dust. The Samnites and Lucanians simmered under Roman oversight, where their defiance dulled but never fully snuffed out. The Republic's legions had proven their mettle against phalanxes and towering elephants, while its alliances held firm against a king's ambition. Yet victory on the battlefield was only half the story. To endure and to rise, Rome needed more than swords and shields. It needed structure to harness its swelling power, law to bind its restless people, and a soul to define its uncharted destiny. This is the tale of a republic refining itself in triumph's shadow, with institutions forged in the crucible of necessity, debts erased to heal old wounds, and a culture enriched by the Greeks it had subdued. Power, when unchecked, consumes itself. In the decades after Pyrrhus's retreat, Rome turned inward, not to rest, but to govern what it had seized and to brace for what loomed ahead. Let's begin in 264, when Sicily shimmered across the waves as a jagged island of grain-rich plains, bustling ports, and clashing powers. Its western shores bristled with Carthage's banners, where Lilybaeum's walls stood stark against the sea and Panormus's harbors teemed with Punic galleys. Its east gleamed with Greek cities like Syracuse, proud and defiant with temples echoing Pyrrhus's fated glory. Between them lay Messana, held by Campanian rogues called the Mamertines, whose cries would ignite a war. Carthage, a naval titan, ruled the Mediterranean's tides with fleets of quinqueremes, their oars a relentless pulse. Rome, a land-bound power, had never sailed to war, its legions masters of hills and plains, but strangers to the deep. Yet in 264, their fates collided. This is the story of the First Punic War, a clash of fleets and ambition, where Rome forged the Corvus, seized Sicily, and paid a price in blood, timber, and iron. It's also the tale of what followed, Carthage's rebirth in Spain under Hamilcar Barca, a shadow lengthening toward vengeance. To rule an empire, Rome first had to sail, and to keep it, Carthage had to rise again. Picture Messana in 264, a fortress town perched on Sicily's northeastern tip, with its harbor guarding the narrow strait to Italy. Stone walls rise 20 feet, studded with watchtowers, while its docks shelter fishing boats and stolen Greek merchant ships. The Mamertines hold it, a band of 800 Campanian mercenaries, sons of Rome's allies under Civitas Signs Suffragio. These rogues, armed with short swords, round shields, and pilfered Greek armor, had seized Messana a decade earlier from its Syracusan lords. They slaughtered the men, claimed the women, and carved a lawless domain, raiding coastal villages for grain and gold. Now, their luck runs dry. Syracuse's king, Hero II, marches north with 10,000 hoplites, their bronze spears glinting, and 20 triremes prowling the coast. His army, trained in the Greek phalanx, locks shields 8 ranks deep, while his ships, each with 50 oarsmen and 20 archers, blockade Messana's harbor. Carthage looms too, with a squadron of 15 quinqueremes stationed at Lipara, 30 miles north, their admiral eyeing Messana's strategic docks. The Mamertines split under pressure. Half, fearing Hero's siege engines, catapults capable of hurling 50-pound stones plead to Carthage for aid, offering the port as a naval base. The other half, ties to Rome still warm from Campanian kinship, send envoys north across the strait in swift biremes, begging for legions. Carthage responds first, slipping a garrison of 500 Punic infantry into Messana under cover of night. These troops, clad in chainmail and wielding curved swords, dig in along the walls, supported by 50 slingers from the Balearic Isles, their leather pouches whirring with lead shot. Hiero tightens his noose, camping 2 miles south with 500 cavalry, their horses snorting steam, ready to cut off supply lines. Rome hesitates as the Senate debates with togas rustling and voices rising in the Curia. To aid the Mamertines is to defy Carthage, whose navy boasts 200 quinqueremes, each with 300 rowers and 50 marines, their rams honed to split hulls. Consul Appius Claudius Caudex, grandson of the censor, urges action and declares, "Sicily's grain feeds Italy, its ports guard our south. Let Carthage choke us and we starve." His plan is bold. Secure Messana as a bridgehead, then push south. Opponents warn of war's cost, noting Rome's fleet numbers just 30 triremes. crewed by 2,000 inexperienced oarsmen, mostly Latin farmers with calloused hands but no sea legs. The Centuriate Assembly, swayed by visions of glory, votes yes, with horns blaring and fists pounding shields on the Campus Martius. Appius marshals 16,000 men at Rhegium, Italy's toe, gazing at Messana's torchlit walls across the strait. His force includes 2 legions, 8,000 Roman heavy infantry in the triplex aces, hastati with pila and short swords, principes with chainmail and thrusting spears, triarii with long spears kneeling in reserve, plus 8,000 allied troops from Latin colonies, light infantry with javelins and slingers from Campania. His fleet, hastily assembled at Ostia, comprises 40 quinquiremes and 20 triremes, each quinquireme with 200 rowers and 30 marines, their oars untested and hulls reeking of fresh pine sap. Crossing the strait is a gamble, with tides swirling and Punic scouts watching from Lipara. Carthage strikes first, reinforcing its Messana garrison to 800 with a detachment of 50 Numidian cavalry, their light horses ideal for skirmishing. Hiero advances, his phalanx forming a wall of bronze, while his catapults lob stones, cracking Messana's northern gate. Appius launches his assault on a moonless night, his ships rowing in tight formation to dodge Punic patrols. The crossing takes 3 hours, oars splashing chaos, and 2 triremes capsize, drowning 100 men. He lands at dawn, 5,000 legionaries storming Messana's beach under a hail of slingstones. The Punic garrison fights street to street, their curved swords clashing with Roman gladii, but Appius's numbers overwhelm them. 400 Carthaginians fall, the rest flee to their ships, and Hero's scouts retreat south, harried by allied javelin men. Messana falls to Rome, its gates flung wide and Mamertines cheering. Carthage and Syracuse, stunned, forge an uneasy pact, with Punic admirals and Greek kings uniting against the upstart. War ignites. Rome's triumph at Messana is a spark, not a blaze. Carthage rules the sea with 200 quinquiremes, their bronze rams gleaming and oars beating like drums in crews of 300 rowers, trained from boyhood to synchronize strokes. Each ship carries 50 marines, armed with spears and grappling hooks, masters of ramming tactics, striking enemy hulls at angles to splinter planks, then boarding with precision. Rome's fleet, barely 30 ships, hugs the coast, its 2,000 oarsmen stumbling over ropes, their training limited to river barges. Sicily's fate hinges on water, not land, and the Senate knows this. In 261, Consul Gnaeus Cornelius Scipio, soon dubbed Asina, meaning the donkey after a later blunder, orders 100 quinquiremes built. Ostia roars as 5,000 laborers, slaves, freedmen, and Latin colonists fell Campanian pines, saw planks, and hammer nails. Greek shipwrights from Tarentum, veterans of Pyrrhus's fleet, oversee construction, their voices sharp over the clang of forges shaping bronze rams. Each quinquireme, 120 feet long, mounts 5 banks of oars, 200 rowers in staggered rows, plus 30 marines and 10 archers. Legend claims a wrecked Punic quinquireme beached near Brundisium is hauled to Ostia, its hull measured and copied plank by plank, a blueprint for Rome's armada. 60 days later, the fleet stands ready, though its crews lack sea trials. Rome's sailors, farmers, and shepherds can't match Carthage's skill, so engineers devise the Corvus, the crow, a naval revolution. Picture a wooden gangway, 12 feet long and 4 feet wide, spiked with a 2-foot iron beak, mounted on a swivel atop each quinquireme's prow. A pulley drops it, driving the beak into an enemy deck, locking ships together. Legionaries, trained for land, can then charge across, turning sea fights into infantry battles, hastati, and principes wielding pila and gladii against Punic marines. Rowers train on shore near Ostia, where 100 wooden benches mimic galleys, oars thudding in rhythm for weeks until calluses bleed. By 260, Rome's fleet swells to 120 quinquiremes and 20 triremes, with 24,000 rowers, 3,000 marines, and 1,000 archers, the Corvus gleaming in the sun. The test comes at Mylae off Sicily's north coast in 260. Consul Gaius Duilius commands, his toga swapped for armor and his voice steady over crashing waves. His fleet, 120 quinquiremes and 20 triremes, totals 140 ships, crewed by 28,000 men. He sails north from Messana, hugging the coast, his ships in a tight wedge, 2 lines of 60 quinquiremes abreast, triremes guarding flanks to shield green rowers from open water. Carthage's fleet, led by Hannibal, son of Gisco, numbers 130 quinquiremes, with 39,000 rowers and 6,000 marines. Punic scouts spot Duilius off Tyndaris, and Hannibal deploys in a crescent, 50 ships in the center to ram, 40 on each wing to envelop, exploiting speed and maneuverability. The battle opens at dawn, with a light wind from the west. Hannibal's center charges, rams aimed at Roman hulls, expecting to scatter the line. Duilius holds steady, ordering rowers to slow, baiting the Punic advance. As Carthage closes, the Corvus drops, 60 gangways slam down, beaks biting wood, locking ships. Legionaries swarm across, 3,000 hastati and principes in chainmail, Pila arcing into Punic marines. Swords clash, blood slicks decks, and 30 Punic ships falter. Their crews, overwhelmed by Roman infantry drills, thrust shield bash, advance. Hannibal's wings sweep in, but Roman triremes, lighter and faster, counter with volleys of arrows, disrupting ore banks. 50 more Punic quinquiremes are grappled and boarded, their rams splintered by ramming counterattacks from Roman reserves. 30 sink, hulls breached, bubbles churning, and screams drown in the deep. 50 are captured, oars still and crews chained. Hannibal flees north, his flagship limping with a broken ram, losing half his fleet, 65 ships and 20,000 men. Duilius loses 11 quinquiremes, 2,000 dead, but returns to Rome triumphant, where his column rises in the Forum, a naval ram at its base, marking Rome's first sea victory. Mylae cracks Carthage's grip, but Sicily bleeds on. In 259, consul Lucius Cornelius Scipio, brother of Asina, targets Corsica, a pine-rich island vital for shipbuilding. He sails with 30 quinquiremes and 5,000 legionaries, landing at Aleria. Punic garrisons, 200 strong, hold hill forts, but Scipio's hastati storm them, Pila piercing wicker shields while allied slingers rain lead shot. Corsica falls in weeks, its timber shipped south. Sardinia follows with 10 quinquiremes raiding Olbia, scattering a Punic outpost of 100 infantry and 20 cavalry. Scipio burns their granaries, securing Rome's flank. Sicily remains the prize. In 261, consuls Lucius Valerius Flaccus and Titus Otacilius Crassus besiege Agrigentum, a hilltop city on Sicily's south coast, key to its grain fields. Carthage defends with 15,000 troops, 10,000 Punic infantry, 4,000 Libyan spearmen, 1,000 Numidian cavalry under Hanno, son of Bomilcar. Rome deploys 20,000 legionaries, 10,000 allied infantry, and 2,000 cavalry, 32,000 men. The city's walls, 30 feet high, bristle with 100 archers and 20 catapults. Rome digs a double circumvallation trenches and palisades 5 miles long to starve Agrigentum, while a contravallation faces outward against relief forces. Hanno camps 10 miles north with 8,000 reinforcements, harassing Roman foragers with Numidian cavalry, their javelins felling 100 daily. The siege drags 5 months. Rome's ballistae, 20 strong, hurl 100-pound stones, cracking towers, while sappers tunnel under walls, collapsing a gate. Starvation bites, Hanno's relief fails, his cavalry pinned by Roman allied horse. In a night assault, 4,000 hastati breach the breach, gladii slashing through Libyan lines. Agrigentum falls, 10,000 defenders dead, 5,000 enslaved, and grain carts roll north. Rome loses 3,000, but controls southern Sicily. Carthage clings to the west. Lilybem, a fortress port, mounts 50 catapults and 200 archers on cliffs, its harbor guarded by 20 quinquiremes. Panormus, a trade hub, hosts 30,000 Punic and mercenary troops, 15,000 infantry, 10,000 rowers, 5,000 cavalry under Hasdrubal. Rome camps across plains, legion fires dotting hills, but lacks ships to strike. In 256, consuls Lucius Manlius Vulso Longus and Marcus Attilius Regulus launch an African invasion to break Carthage's heart. They muster 200 quinquiremes, 50 triremes, and 140 transports, carrying 26,000 legionaries, 54,000 allied infantry, and 60,000 rowers, totaling 140,000 men. Each quinquireme mounts a Corvus, 30 marines, and 10 archers, with transports packed bow to stern. They sail from Messana, a forest of masts, aiming for Clupea, 50 miles from Carthage. Carthage counters at Cape Ecnomus, off Sicily's south coast, with 350 quinquiremes and 50 triremes, crewed by 105,000 rowers and 17,000 marines under Hamilcar and Hanno. Rome forms a wedge, 2 squadrons of 60 quinquiremes each in front, a third of 80 towing transports, triremes on flanks designed to punch through. Carthage deploys in a long line, 150 ships in the center. 100 on each wing, planning to envelop. At midday, with a south wind, Hamilcar's center rams sinking 10 Roman quinquiremes, but the Corvus locks 40 more, legionaries boarding in waves. The Roman 3rd Squadron cuts tow lines, charging with triremes to flank Carthage's wings, sinking 30 with rams and arrows. 100 Punic ships sink, wreckage bobbing and sharks circling, with 30,000 dead. Rome loses 24 quinquiremes, 6,000 men, but wins the sea. Regulus lands at Clupea, 120,000 strong after losses. His legions, 5,000 hastati, 5,000 principes, 2,000 triarii per legion, 4 legions total, raise farms, loot villas, and enslave 20,000. He camps on Tunis's plains, 15 miles from Carthage, with 50,000 allied infantry in a fortified square, ditches 10 feet deep, palisades spiked. Carthage offers peace, ceding coastal towns, but Regulus demands surrender, eyeing their walls. In 255, Xanthippus, a Spartan mercenary, takes command. His army, 12,000 Punic infantry, 4,000 cavalry, 100 elephants, meets Regulus at Tunis. Elephants, 40 feet apart, charge with trunks raised, trampling 2,000 hastati. Punic cavalry, 2,000 Numidian light horse, and 2,000 heavy, outflank Roman wings, javelins piercing allied lines. Xanthippus's phalanx, 8 ranks deep, holds firm, spears skewering principes. 500 Romans survive, Regulus is captured, and 15,000 die. A storm then wrecks Rome's fleet off Camarina. 200 quinquiremes and 50 transports sink. 15,000 drown, timbers littering shores. Carthage holds Sicily's west. Rome rebuilds, with questors draining 10,000 talents and colonies felling Latium's forests. By 252, consul Gaius Aurelius Cotta sails with 120 quinquiremes and 20,000 legionaries. He targets Panormus, its 30,000 defenders under Hasdrubal, dug into a fortified camp, trenches 15 feet wide, 200 catapults on walls. Cotta lands 10 miles east, builds a siege line of 50 ballistae, 20 onagers bombarding with stones and fire pots. After 3 months, a sally of 5,000 Punic infantry fails, cut down by principes. Panormus falls in 250, its harbor burns, and 15,000 flee inland. Rome loses 2,000 but gains a western foothold. Lilybaeum resists. Its cliffs, 100 feet high, mount 50 catapults and 200 archers with 20 quinquiremes in harbor. Consul Gaius Atilius Regulus, co-commander, besieges with 30,000. 15,000 legionaries, 15,000 allies, and 50 quinquiremes. Siege towers, 80 feet tall, roll forward, but Punic fire arrows ignite them, killing 500. A fleet blockade fails, losing 10 ships to storms. After a year, Rome retreats, losing 3,000 to disease and arrows. In 249, consul Publius Claudius Pulcher, arrogant and rash, attacks Drepana, a Punic naval base. His 90 quinquiremes, 18,000 rowers, and 3,000 marines sail at night, aiming to trap Carthage's 50 ships under Adherbal. The Corvus weighs them down, slowing turns in tight waters. Adherbal sorties with 60 quinquiremes, 15,000 rowers, and 3,000 marines, hugging the coast. Punic rams strike broadside, sinking 30 Roman ships, while archers pin marines. 93 Roman quinquiremes are lost, 12,000 dead as Pulcher flees. He blames sacred chickens for refusing to eat, tosses them overboard, and declares, "Let them drink." Rome's treasury gasps, morale sinks, endurance prevails. In 241, consul Gaius Lutatius Catulus, wounded from prior campaigns, builds 200 quinquiremes with 20,000 legionaries, 40,000 rowers, and 4,000 marines. He drills off Ostia ramming exercises, Corvus drops shedding its use for speed. At the Aegates Islands off Sicily's west, he faces Hannos, 120 quinquiremes, 36,000 rowers, loaded with supplies for Lilybaeum. A storm roils, Punic ships wallow, and Catulus strikes in a line abreast, 200 rams forward. 50 sink, hulls breached, and 70 are captured, Hanno's banner torn. Rome loses 30 ships, 6,000 men, but Carthage surrenders, its fleet shattered. The Treaty of 241 is bitter. Carthage cedes Sicily, its ports and fields, paying 3,200 talents over 10 years and 10 tons of silver annually. Rome spares Hiero's Syracuse. Its king bows, and he becomes a client with 5,000 hoplites pledged. Casualties scar both. Rome loses 700 ships, 500 quinquiremes, 200 others, and 200,000 men, half rowers. Carthage loses 500 ships, 150,000 dead. Sicily's towns, Messana and Panormus, fly Roman colors with 10,000 legionaries garrisoned. The Corvus fades, agility trumps boarding, and Rome rules the sea by grit, not finesse. Carthage doesn't kneel long. Its coffers bleed, and in 241, 20,000 mercenaries, Libyans, Gauls, Numidians, mutiny under Spendius and Matho, demanding 10,000 talents in back pay. The truceless war erupts, with Libyan tribes adding 40,000 spearmen, slingers, and cavalry. They sack Utica, burning granaries, and besiege Carthage, cutting roads with 10,000 infantry in trenches. Hamilcar Barca, Punic general and iron-willed, rallies 10,000 loyalists, 5,000 infantry, 2,000 cavalry, 3,000 rowers, and 100 elephants. He lures rebels to the Bagradas River in 240, elephants trampling 5,000, then ambushes Spendius at Prion Hill, crucifying 2,000. By 238, 40,000 rebels lie dead, crosses line roads, and Carthage survives, its pride raw. In 237, Hamilcar sails for Spain with 10 quinqueremes, 5,000 infantry, 1,000 Numidian cavalry, and 20 elephants. Gades, modern Cadiz, is his foothold, its harbor silver bright and walls 10 feet thick. Carthage's senate, lean with 5,000 talents left, grants him free reign. Sicily's loss stings, but Spain's mines promise rebirth. His army digs in, building a camp with palisades and 50 catapults. He marches inland, subduing Turdetani with bribes. 10 talents of silver in battles, his cavalry scattering 2,000 tribesmen at Acraluce, its white cliffs a new frontier. By 231, Hamilcar controls Rio Tinto's silver veins, 100 mines yielding 50 talents monthly. His army grows to 20,000, 10,000 Punic infantry, 5,000 mercenaries, 5,000 cavalry plus 50 elephants. He founds Barcino, Barcelona's seed, with 5,000 settlers and a fort of stone and timber. Rome grumbles, and in 226, the Ebro River Treaty sets a line, but Hamilcar crosses it, taking 10,000 Oritani under tribute. In 229, he dies, ambushed at Helic by 5,000 Celtiberians, drowning in a river as his rearguard of 2,000 holds them off. Hasdrubal the Fair succeeds, founding New Carthage in 228, its citadel on a hill, harbor guarded by 20 quinqueremes and 10,000 rowers. His army, 30,000 infantry, 8,000 cavalry, 60 elephants, binds tribes with treaties and silver coins bearing Hamilcar's face. By 221, Hasdrubal falls to a Celt's blade, and Hannibal, 26, takes command. His force swells to 50,000 infantry, 10,000 cavalry, and 100 elephants, with Numidian riders drilling hit-and-run tactics, javelins flung from horseback at a gallop. Rome rests, Sicily's grain feeds its 30 legions, and its fleet rusts with 200 quinqueremes at Ostia. Carthage rebuilds, Spain's 50 talents monthly forge a war chest, and Hannibal's oath sparks vengeance. In 219, he besieges Saguntum, a Roman ally south of the Ebro, with 60,000. 40,000 infantry, 10,000 cavalry, 100 elephants, and 50 catapults. Towers roll, stones smash walls, and flames consume the city in 8 months. Rome protests, but Hannibal marches north. But remember this. Before Hannibal crossed the snows and before Rome faced its darkest hour, the First Punic War taught it to sail, to bleed, and to endure. The Corvus pierced Carthage's pride, Sicily fell to Roman grit, and yet Hamilcar sowed seeds in Spain. Mines bled silver, and a son swore hate. Rome won the sea, but Carthage forged a blade. Empires aren't built on victories alone. They're tempered by the foes they leave alive. This has been the Chronicles of Rome. Join us next time for the Second Punic War, where Hannibal's elephants storm the Alps, victories at Trebia, Trasimene, and Cannae shake Rome's core, and Scipio Africanus turns the tide at Zama. It is a clash of titans, a war of vengeance, endurance, and strategy that will define an age. Rome's rise was forged in fire, and in Hannibal, it met its greatest test.